All right, we're going to learn how to do a rate of change of a linear equation. All right, so we're going to find a rate of change in this equation. So every question will have a different equation. In this question, the equation is y equals negative 2x plus 2. All right, so in your homework, you're going to notice that the chart looks a little bit different. All right, this middle section here is not in your chart. Okay, so normally when you do an XY chart, it's usually just the X and then the Y is right next to it. This middle column here is not there. Okay, you will notice this middle column in your homework, in your test, but for your homework, it won't be there. All right, so what we have to do is find the Y values in this chart. Okay, so we have to calculate these Y values in this chart. And to do that, I'm going to sub this X value into the equation. All right, so my equation looks like this. Y equals negative 2. I'm actually not going to write the Y. It's not going to have enough space, but it's going to be negative 2. And then I'm going to sub in a negative 2 for the X, because that's what X is in this question. All right, and when I do so, all I have to do is calculate this. All right, so on your calculator, depending on your calculator, if you have an iPhone, you're going to type in 2 plus minus times 2 plus minus. Okay, so that's how you get the negative 2 times negative 2, and then plus 2 equals. Okay, and when you type that all in, you should get 6 as your answer. And that's what you're trying to do. Okay, so for the next column or next row, I'm going to sub negative 1 for X. Okay, so the equation is negative 2 times X, and in this part, X is negative 1 plus 2. All right, so do the same process. Now, if you're using an Android, if you're using a calculator, depending on the calculator, all right, you might have to type it this way. So you can look for this negative button. Okay, it could look like that again, or it could look like this, depending on the calculator. And then press 2 times, and then the same button that you pressed the first time. Okay, the negative with the bracket inside it. 2 plus 2. Okay, and this, obviously in this example, I made a mistake. It's not going to be negative 2, it's going to be negative 1. So you're going to be pressing 1. And equals. Now, if you type that in your calculator, it's negative 2 times negative 1 will give you positive 2. Positive 2 plus 2 is 4. And that's what you're going to get for Y. All right, now you're going to continue this going down the chart, but you're just going to change the X values depending on what the X value is in the question. All right, so on this row, it's going to be negative 2 times 0 plus 2, which gives you 2. You're going to do the next one with the positive 1. Right, you're going to get 0 here. The next one, let's use like a pink, whatever color this is. Okay, so you're going to have negative 2 times 2 plus 2, which gives you negative 2. So just be careful. And then the last one, I'm just going to write it all in black. It's going to be negative 2 times 3 plus 2. So negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. All right. So finding out the Y values, all you got to do is calculate it using the X values that are given. All right. Now to find a rate of change, okay, and the word change in math just means subtract. All right. So to do this, I'm going to take the number in that row. In this case, it's the 4. and I'm going to subtract the number above it, which is 6. And that gives me negative 2. I'm going to do the same thing with the next row. Take the number in that row. In this case, it's 2. And I'm going to subtract the number above it. That also gives me, oops. Okay, subtract the number above it. And that also is going to give me, bleh, making a lot of mistakes here. Okay, I'm going to subtract the number above it, which is 4. And that's going to give me negative 2. Okay, so let's try this again. We're going to take the number in the same row. In this case, it's the number 0. The word change means subtract the number above it, which is 2. 0 minus 2 is negative 2. All right, let's try it with the next row. It's going to be negative 2 because that's the number there. Subtract the number above it, which is 0. Negative 2 minus 0 is also going to give me negative 2. Okay, now this last row, I want you guys to pay attention because there's 2 negative numbers, so we just got to be careful. Okay, so it's going to be negative 4. The word change means subtract. And then I'm going to be subtracting the number above it, and the number above it just so happens to be a negative number. So I kind of have to write it like this. All right, I know I told you guys before never to write this in math, okay, or never to write this in math. Okay, but if you add brackets around it, like I did here, okay, that's fine. All right, so when I do that, negative 4 minus negative 2. All right, I'm going to show you what you got to be typing in your calculator down here. Okay, I'll write it in blue. It should be, if you're using an iPhone, it's 4 plus minus subtraction sign 2 plus minus equals. And when you type that in, you should be getting negative 2 as an answer. Okay, if you have an Android, it's negative 4 minus negative 2 equals. All right. Now, you're going to notice that your rate of change should all be the same number. All right. And when your rate of change is all the same, we call this a constant. All right. So if the rate of change is constant, okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be negative 2 all the time. It could be 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. It could be 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Oops. Okay, so if the rate of change is constant, the equation is linear. And the word linear just means y equals mx plus b. It's a straight line. All right. In fact, you're going to notice that the rate of change should always be your slope. Okay, so those numbers should always match if you did it correctly. Okay, and that's how you find the rate of change. All right, sometimes it's called the first difference. Okay,